Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a lavender infused and with essential oil skin salve. So what happened the other day, and you can still see a little bit of the red bumps, I ended out getting a hold of touching a bunch of different plants, and apparently a couple of them I ended up being allergic to, so my whole arms ended out really rashed, and you can see a little bit of it left, but it's not anywhere like it was. And I ended up using the skin salve on it, and it really helped take the stinging and the itching and the burning right out of it, and it was almost completely healed by the next day, which is wonderful. We all deal with stuff in life that we never know what we're going to come in contact with, and this recipe will also work really well for sunburns and things like that. So I wanted to share that with you today. Now you're going to need some kind of a container that you can put everything in. Now I want to make a small batch. So one of the ways you do that is you put your container on the scale and tear it out to 0. You want to make sure that that stays at that point, because then you're not weighing your container and you're only going to weigh what you're going to put into it. So I want to fill it up to, yeah, see, maybe about there. I don't want it to be so full that it's going to touch the lid, because I want to have some distance there. I'll throw a little bit more in there, and I think I'm satisfied with that. So we're just going to go ahead and call that 70 grams, because it's going to be much easier to do the calculations for this recipe for this specific container. So we're just going to say it's 70. Maybe I put a couple drops in there. Do I have a 70? Do I have a 70? Yep, there, I got a 70. We're good. All right, so that's what we're going to base our recipe on, is the 70 grams. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but if you get it close, you're good. This isn't an exact science anyway. What you are going to need is some coconut oil and beeswax. So now that we've got kind of everything ready to go, I've got it all dried out. So you don't want to have any water in your container, because water is going to be an impurity. So now we're going to figure out our recipe for this using our measurement for this cup. And we're going to put it all in, or this tin. Let me grab some paper. Get everything all handy doody, ready to go. Alright, so basically, I mentioned this in another video for doing lotion bars, which is kind of basically the same thing. This is the coconut oil that I infused with the lavender plants from my yard. And then this is some of the beeswax that I just shredded up with a cheese grater, because it's easy to work with that way. Alright, so you're going to need 4 parts coconut oil. I'm just going to put nut, because that kind of works. P for parts. 1 part beeswax. So then what you're going to need to do is 4 and 1 is 5. So you're dealing with 5 total parts. Now, since the tin weighs 70 grams, or that's how much we're going to put into it, 70 grams weight divided by 5 parts equals 14. So 14 grams is the total weight of each part. So now we take our 14 grams times our 4 parts coconut oil for nut, there we go, and we have 56 grams. So 56 total grams is going to be our weight for our coconut oil. And then of course we have 14 grams times 1 part beeswax, which of course is just going to weigh 14. Whoops. Let's make sure I write the numbers down correctly. Alright, so here we have our 4 parts to 1 part beeswax, which equals 5. Then we have 56 plus 14, which equals 70 grams. So that's kind of a way that you can do it by calculation by weight, if that's something you want to do, and this will be much more accurate for you. Or you can just take 1 part beeswax, like 1 scoop beeswax, and 1, 2, 3, 4 parts of your coconut oil. You can have it infused if you want to, but you don't actually have to. So this should help you as far as figuring out what the parts mean and how to create those parts for your weights for a specific size container as I've got here. Okay, so now I need to bring my scale back out. We're going to work with all these handy dandy wonderful little parts. I'm going to make sure that this is all on grams. And then I'm going to tear this out and make it 0 because we're awesome like that. Now we need 14 grams beeswax. And we have a 5, and we have a 12. Oh, and 14 sold. So 14 grams beeswax. Now we can set that aside. Tear this out and make it 0. And now we got to do the coconut oil. Now we need 56 grams of the coconut oil. So we have 70 there. All right, so I can take a little bit of that back out because we don't need quite that doggone much. There we go. Oh, took a little too much out. Nope, we're doing 56, not 70. Let me get my thingies a little straight, shall we? Now, if this is too hard for some of you, some people might say that this mixture is too solid. All you have to do is just remove a little bit of the beeswax. If it's, so yeah, you can either remove the beeswax or add more oil. Either one of those two things will either make it harder or make it softer. So the beeswax makes it harder, the oil makes it softer. So we're going to go ahead and melt this down on our stove over here. And as soon as that melts, then we'll go ahead and pour that into our container, and that will work really, really well. And it will solidify up, and we'll be back for that process as soon as those oils finally do their thing and melt together, because beeswax is an oil, by the way. And we'll be back for the rest of this in a few minutes. Alright, and we're back. It took a few minutes for it to melt. I added a lot more of the mixture here. I also decided I wanted to put some coconut or some cocoa butter and some shea butter in this, so it made it a little bit larger. But whether you add cocoa butter or shea butter, that's up to you. You don't have to, but it is a harder oil, so make sure that if you do add harder oils to it, that you also account for that by reducing your beeswax so it won't be so incredibly hard for you. Now, or solid. I'm going to add a little bit of lavender essential oil. Now, not everybody has access to lavender plants like I have in my yard, so you might want to add a lavender essential oil if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and add just a few little squirts of that in there. It's because I really like the scent, and it's really, really worked for me with some skin burns and things. Mix that in there. And I have enough that I can put some of this in a canning jar for later so I can fill up my containers. So I got a couple containers handy here. I'm just going to go ahead and pour them to about that fill line. Right about there. We'll do this one the same way to right about there. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the fridge where these will set up. And having a tray underneath of them when you're doing this makes it really easy to transport this because these oils are very hot. So the containers will sometimes burn you because this is really set at a low level heat, but oil holds heat. So keep that in mind. Use a tray or something to transport it. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the fridge where it will get solid. And we'll be back and I'll show you the rest of what you need to do in a few minutes. Dun dun dun! It's finally finished. So we have our salve all done. It's set up. It's solid. Something that you can do if you want to is flatten the top with the heat gun. I decided I'd avoid that today. And you can just rub it with your hand like this and apply it on your skin like that. And it's just wonderful. It works so well. Now, because I'm using this as a salve, I'm only using essential oils or I'm using infused oil, but you do not have to do that if you just want to use it as like a hand cream or a lotion or something like that. Just use a plain coconut oil and beeswax. Now, if you are going to measure this without a scale, make sure that your beeswax is melted before you put it in a cup. That way, cups are volume, ounces are weight. So make sure that your beeswax in your coconut oil is melted before you measure your volume and put that into a recipe for making your salves or your lotion bars or whatever else you plan on making. So that will help you in case you do not have a scale. But for now, this is a finished product. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can come back for more information and hopefully some other good advice, and we'll have some more fun. See you later, guys.